Let's give it a couple of seconds for people to join in online. Um, We'll go ahead and get started. All right, Shalom Israel. You live at the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Priest and Captain Soccer War holding down the class in Memphis, Tennessee. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday we have classes here in Memphis. You brothers and sisters tuning in, you got family, loved ones, people you care about that's in need of leadership, guidance, counsel, support of any kind. Get them in contact with the Israelite School of UPK. Since 1969, we've been teaching so-called blacks, Latinos, Native American Indians the truth according to the Bible. What is the truth? The truth is that so-called blacks, Latinos, Native American Indians descend from the greatest people that have ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. In the year 2021, there's nothing more important than for so-called black, Latino, and Native American Indians to know the truth of who they are, where they come from, and what their purpose is here on the earth. And that is why we have these classes to go into this book called the Bible, so that we could gain the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that the Most High has put in here for us to receive, so that we could transform our lives and be the people that He called us to be. All right. So Tuesday night is a brotherhood class. Wednesday is biblical law. Thursday is scripture breakdown. But of course, on any day of the week, the brothers and sisters have any questions, we like to give you opportunity to ask your questions. You get them answered. Here in the ISUPK, we pride ourselves on having the understanding of these scriptures and being able to answer any and all questions that brothers may have pertaining to anything that they're dealing with in their lives, which is why this is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, meaning what? This knowledge that we have can easily be applied, which means it's practical, and it is universal, means it addresses and touches on any and everything that you may encounter in life. All right, so any brothers and sisters have any questions online, all you got to do is type them in. Brothers and sisters have questions in the room, all you got to do is raise your hand. All right. So give brothers and sisters the opportunity to ask their questions. Now, I know we had a question from last week, which is what the topic of the class is about. The topic of the class is protecting the family jewels and the effects of an enduring culture. All right. Again, the topic of tonight's class is protecting the family jewels and the effects of an enduring culture. All right. The reason why I named the class this is because a brother asked a question last week about the Ark of the Covenant. Okay, so tonight we're going to take some time and go into these scriptures and get an understanding of what the Ark of the Covenant was, why it was so significant for us historically, and what that means for us today. All right. Before we go into that, were there any other questions that brothers, anybody in the class had or wanted to touch on? No? All right. Anybody online had questions? If you got any questions online, just go ahead and type them in. Shabal, I know you had asked me about a breakdown. I'm not sure if you still needed that. If you did, I'll just type it in so we can go ahead and go into it before I get into this topic. All right. All right. Brother said he wanted to break down on 2nd Ezra 6 and 21. All right. So for 2nd Ezra 6 and 21, we're going to go into this book called the Apocrypha. You brothers and sisters that have the Bible on your phone, do you guys have access to the Apocrypha? Okay. So let's go ahead and pull up the Apocrypha. We're going to go into 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 21. And get a breakdown for what the brother's asking pertaining to that scripture. All right. All right. All right. Shalom, Yahweh Shema, thought about Shemi Al Shah for the sister checking in from Dover, Delaware. All right, so I'm gonna read Second Ezra chapter 6, verse 21. Well, actually, I'm gonna start at verse 18. So Shabal, for to get an understanding of what's being broken down here, we're gonna start at verse 18. All right. So everybody understand that the book of Second Ezra in many places is like the book of Revelations, meaning the brother Ezra was being shown things pertaining to the future. Everybody understand? When the Most High gives a man a vision, okay, so when it comes to the book of Revelations and John on the island of Patmos, right? The Most High gave John, he saw the future, meaning he saw events taking place in the future. But a lot of the things that he saw, if you were someone from 2,000 years ago, and you got to look at, if you got to spend an hour in the earth today, you would not have any comprehension of the things that you're seeing. You understand? Imagine you living in Rome 2,000 years ago, but then you get transplanted to New York City, and you're seeing these giant buildings, and you're seeing airplanes flying in the sky, and cars driving on the road, and everything is, you're seeing lights. Imagine 2,000 years ago, and then suddenly you in Times Square, and you look, you're like, what? And it's cars everywhere, loud honking noises. You see these TVs and giant screens and stuff flashing on them. You don't know what the hell going on. Then the next minute, you in the middle of a war zone, and you're seeing tanks and airplanes flying and bombs dropping and soldiers with armor and equipment and guns, and they shooting bullets, and you're seeing people dying. Then the next thing you're in the middle of, I don't know, you're in Los Angeles, standing on the beach, looking at the city, and you in Florida in the middle of a hurricane, and you see the hurricane is washing onto the shore, and you're seeing the flood waters covering the beaches and washing the lakefront properties. That's what John on the island of Patmos saw. He was a man living in his time who the Lord gave a view into the future. So when he wrote down what he saw, he had to write it down in ways that made sense to him, which is why when we read the book of Revelations, we're reading a man trying to describe the future in a language that only he can understand. Everybody understands. Now, how do you decode that language? How do you decipher what it is that he was seeing and understand it? You can't. You understand? You have to have someone teach it to you. Everybody understands. So everything that you hear taught in these classes is what was taught to us. Everybody understands. So as I go to read this scripture, if there's anything in here that I'm unfamiliar with that hasn't been broken down to me, then I'm going to say Salaki. I'm not even sure about this. I got to check my notes, or I'll check with General Mahani. Everybody understands. But for a lot of these breakdowns, I remember a lot of these. I got the notes, and I remember a lot of them. So there's a lot of these instances where I'm able to break them down. But understand, in here, we don't teach anything that we haven't been taught. I don't have the wisdom and the knowledge to tell you what John saw, because how the hell could I? Everybody understands. All right. So here we go. Second Ezra chapter 6. We're gonna start at verse 18. All right. It says, and it said, behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon the earth, and will begin to make inquisition of them, what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled. It says, verse 20, and when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens. The books shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together. Verse 21, and the children of a year old shall speak with their voices. The women with child shall bring forth untimely children of 3 or 4 months old, and they shall live and be raised up. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall not stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. Whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation and the end of your world. So boom, what are we talking about here? This is Ezra's being spoken to concerning Judgment Day, or the end of this world as we know it. Everybody understand? The end of this world, contrary to popular belief, well, it's not contrary to popular belief. Let me get some scriptures for y'all so we can understand exactly what's being said. It says we can eliminate some things from what it is that's being broken down here. Let me get all right, hold on. All right, let's get Isaiah chapter 45, verse 18. Let's get Isaiah 45 and 18, all right? All right, go ahead. You got it, Trooper Osh.
Book of Isaiah chapter 45, verse 18. For thus saith the Lord that created the heavens, God himself that formed the earth and made it. He established it. He created it not in vain. He formed it to be inhabited.
All right, the Most High who created the heavens and the earth, he did not create the earth in vain. Everybody saying he created it to be inhabited, which means what? God did not make the earth to destroy it one day. All right, so all of the beliefs that, you know, when the world's going to come to an end of Judgment Day is the earth being blown up or destroyed, that is all propaganda from our oppressors. It's all lies. Everybody understands? The Most High made the earth to be inhabited. So guess what? There will always be men dwelling on the earth because that is the reason why the Most High created the earth. Everybody understands? All right, so this is not talking about the earth being destroyed or the earth being blown up. Everybody understands? But it is, however, talking about a day coming where you're going to see miraculous things taking place, all right? So starting at verse 18, what are some of the things that we're going to solve? So first of all, verse 18 is saying, behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon the earth. So the days are coming. The days are going to come where the Most High is going to begin to visit the earth. Meaning what? He's going to make his presence felt. Everybody understands. What are some of the signs that he's going to make his presence felt? He's going to begin to, verse 19, I will begin to make inquisition of them, what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of science shall be fulfilled. When the Most High says he's going to make inquisition, what does that mean? When the Most High says he's going to question somebody, or I'm going to give you another scripture. All right, so these are all, before Shabbat, these are all precepts to help you break down this scripture, all right? So precept for verse 19 is Jeremiah 25 and 31. All right. Get Jeremiah 25, 31, and 32. All right. Matter of fact, let's get Jeremiah 25, 31 through 33. All right. For time's sake, I'm going to read it. All right. Jeremiah 25 and 31 says, a noise shall come even to the ends of the earth, for the Lord has a controversy with the nations. He will plead with all flesh. So the Lord is going to plead with all flesh, right? What does 2 Ezra 16 and 19 say? And I will begin to make inquisition of them, what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness. So pleading and making an inquisition is the same thing. To plead, to make an inquisition is to question, to get the answer. Everybody understand? How does the Most High plead with someone? How does the Most High get answers from someone? Let's keep reading Jeremiah 25. Jeremiah 25 and end of 31. He will plead with all flesh. He will give them that are wicked to the sword, saith the Lord. Most High says he's going to plead with someone, or he's going to make inquisition, meaning he's going to deal with them for what they've done. He's going to see what they've done and reward them accordingly. Everybody understands. For the Most High to plead with someone or to make inquisition is not for him to ask a question. It's for him to come and to deal with you based on what you've done. Everybody understands. So in second Ezra is being told, as the Most High begins to visit the earth, he's going to begin to punish those who have been wicked. And he's going, and in punishing those who have been wicked, he's going to bring an end to the suffering of Zion. Everybody understands. There cannot be an end to our suffering unless the people who are causing us to suffer die and are destroyed. You cannot have salvation for the Israelites unless there is destruction of the people who are oppressing them. They both go hand in hand. Salvation of the oppressed and the destruction of the oppressor, they have to happen together. Everybody understands? So that is what this is explaining and describing here. All right. Going forward in Jeremiah 25 and 32 now. Thus saith the Lord of hosts. Again, we talked about this the other week. The Most High is referred to as the Lord of hosts because he is a general. He is the most high of all the armies. Everybody understands. He is the highest ranking in charge of all of the armies. That's how he is referred to. So when they're talking in terms of discussing judgment or discussing the deliverance of Israel, he's referred to as the Most High of hosts. Everybody understands. Thus saith the Most High, the Lord of hosts, behold, evil shall go forth from nation to nation, and a great whirlwind shall be raised up from the coasts of the earth. Verse 33, and the slain of the Lord shall be at that day from one end of the earth even until the other end of the earth. They shall not be lamented, neither gathered nor buried. They shall be dung upon the earth. Everybody understand? So there is great destruction coming when the Most High pleads with the unjust. There is great destruction coming when the Most High makes an inquisition as to when is the suffering of Zion going to be fulfilled. That is what second Ezra is talking about in 6 and 19. Everybody understands? Second Ezra 6 and 20. And when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens. The books shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together. What are the tokens that it's talking about here? The tokens is talking about the reason why. Meaning when the Most High's judgment comes down, it's just going to be death and destruction, and people aren't going to understand why. But in the end of the destruction, after this current world is wiped out, this society is wiped out, then the tokens will be shown. Meaning what? The reasoning for this judgment is going to be made known to all the earth. Everybody understands? There will not be a destruction that comes out of the sky and nobody knows what happens. When the dust settles and the smoke clears, it is going to be clearly explained to everybody who remains on the earth why these things took place. Why what happened had to happen. Why you had to see and witness so much death and destruction. Everybody understands? And it's not just going to be explained to us as Israelites. It'll be explained to the oppressor. It'll be explained to the Moabites, the Ammonites, the Japhites, the Hamites. Everyone's going to know why what happened. Everybody understands? That's what it means when it says he's going to show the tokens and lay open the books before the firmament, meaning before the whole earth. The record of why this had to take place is going to be shown forth. Everybody understands? Verse 21. And the children of a year old shall speak with their voices. The women with child shall bring forth untimely children of 3 or 4 months, and they shall live and be raised up. So what is this talking about? It's talking about children of 1 year old are going to speak. Young meaning, don't think 1 year old, but young children are going to speak very clearly. Everybody understand? Just think children who, in this society, a lot of us, we were raised to, children are children until about the age of 11 or 12, right? Many of us, we was raised with child stay in a child's place. These grown folks talking, get out of here, right? When in reality, we should be treating our young children like they are aware of everything, because they are. Some of us have, I got memories when I was 4 years old. There were some things that I was exposed to at 4 that a 4-year-old should not have been exposed to. And I remember them, and I know how they affected my life, even though nobody talked to me about it. Nobody explained it to me. So I had to learn on my own what these things meant, or what these things that I was witnessing were about. Don't treat your children that way. Treat your young children like they should know better. You understand? Treat your 3 or 4-year-old. Don't talk to them like, oh, boogie, 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 boo. Don't do that. Talk to them like, hey, what you doing? Stop that. Don't do that. You ain't supposed to do that because guess what? Y'all got young children. Your child knows when they being bad. They know when they doing something they not supposed to do. So you should start talking to them plainly like, hey, stop that. Don't do that. You're going to get a spanking for that. Speak clearly to them so they understand. So, and guess what? By 4 or 5, you'll have a child who fully comprehends. You'll have a child who you can have adult conversations with at 4 years old if you treat them at 1 like, hey, little baby, don't do this, don't do that. These children are aware. This is just saying that young children are going to be speaking like they grown. That's what this is talking about. Everybody understand? No, Shabal. So the brother asks, so if I could, it doesn't mean literal. No, it doesn't mean literally 1 year old. Time in the Bible is never literal. Everybody understand? It's never, okay, 12 months old, the child is talking. It don't mean that. It just means young children are going to speak eloquently. You have young kids speaking. Right now, you can go on the internet, you can see a video of a 2-year-old kid doing a preacher sermon. Pray to Jesus, 2 years old. How does 2-year-old baby know any of that? Because he's mimicking somebody. He's in church all the time. He's seeing the pastor, and he see the way the people is affected by the pastor. This little boy, like, I want to do that. So guess what? If the little boy in church does that, what if the little boy who's around, weed smoke or around guns and drugs, the little boy that's around prostitution and strippers, or the little boy that's around, gangster music all day? Well, guess what? He's going to emulate that. That gets in his spirit 2 years old. Everybody understand? You have to treat your children not like they little babies and don't know no better. Treat your children like they've been here before. Treat them like they are someone from the past who's getting readjusted to being in a body. You treat your child that way, then guess what? By the age of 3 or 4, you'll have a well-mannered, intelligent, understanding child. Yeah, you may find that you just got a badass kid. Well, guess what? You're going to discipline. And discipline with a child starts very early. Don't wait till your child 5 or 6 and start to smack them. No, you got to catch them 18 months. Smack that hand. That hand smack at 18 months is the most horrible thing in the world. 18-month-old baby, you smack that hand. It's horrible. By the time he's 4 or 5, you might have a baby that knows that boy shouldn't cry. You spank your 4-year-old and he's crying and hating you because you made him cry. He don't want to cry in front of these people. I remember being young and I remember being about 5 years old. I remember I don't know. I think I was about 5, but I cussed these. I was living in an apartment building. We had a pool in the apartment building. I cussed these 2 hoes out so bad. They were playing with my older cousin. I cussed these girls out. No, I was older than 5, well, maybe 6. But I know cuss words is my thing. I wasn't around my mom and them. I used all the cuss words in the book. I knew they was bad. I knew they was bad words. I used all of the curse words that I had against these girls at this pool. My older cousin told these hoes where we lived. They went up to the apartment, told my mother that I was down there at the pool, cussing people out and being doing wrong and this and that. And my mother came in. I don't know if my mother came and got me or I went with them to the apartment to try and stop them from telling on me. My mother spanked me, right? I don't know if she spanked me in front of them or if she spanked me privately, but I know that I was embarrassed and I was ashamed and I hated my mother for that. You embarrassed me in front of these hoes. I knew I was young, but they was hoes. I knew they was hoes. I was mad at my cousin. You sold me out to these hoes. They don't even like you. You snitched on me behind these hoes. Well, guess what? Your kids feel those things. They know those things. They are aware of those things. So you got to start it when they're young. Physically disciplining your child has to stop at about 5 or 6 years old. By the time your kid's 6, squats on the wall is punishment. You ain't got to lay a finger on them. Push-ups is punishment. But you holding books on your head, holding books above you. You better let them books drop. You let them book. You got to putting the fear of God in your children is something that starts at a very young age. You shouldn't be beating those 6 or 7 year olds. Shalom, Lord Christ. You know what I'm saying? Everybody understands. But without knowledge and wisdom, we don't have the understanding of how those things are supposed to be done. Everybody understands. But the disciplining of children has to start young. This scripture is just saying that in that day, children are going to be young, but they're going to be speaking with knowledge, speaking intelligently. They're going to be women who give birth to children prematurely. The next part of verse 21. This is 2 Ezra 6 and 21. And the children of a year old shall speak with their voices. The women with child shall bring forth untimely children of 3 or 4 months old, and they shall live and be raised up. Meaning what? These sisters are going to have children prematurely. Children are going to be born, and at the time, the days of their pregnancy are fulfilled. These children are going to be born, but guess what? They're going to live. Everybody understands. All right. Verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. So understand this. When it comes to these visions, it's not all in one line. Everybody understands. All of these things are going to be happening around the same time. The Most High visiting the earth, judgment coming down, and this place being destroyed, the young children being more mature, the premature babies living, and the storehouses being found empty. All of these things are going to be taking place around the time the Most High begins to visit the earth. Everybody understands. But don't read this and think, well, this thing going to happen first, then that's going to happen in this next. Because then you'll be looking for certain things that don't line up that way. Everybody understands. So it's important when you understand in visions, understand it's a vision. It ain't a literal step-by-step occurrence. Everybody understands. And that's important for any vision in the Bible, particularly ones pertaining to the end times, like we read in 2nd Ezra here, or like we read in the book of Revelations. All right. So Shabal said he understood it's just talking about a young child. So the brother's question is, Salaki, if I could, sir, are the premature births a punishment to the women? No. In this instance, these are not punishments, but they are a sign. All right, Shabal. The premature birth in this instance is like the blind man in John 4. Let's go to John chapter 9. Let's go to John chapter 9 and verse 1 right quick. You go to John chapter 9, verse 1. What was the first scripture I pulled in Ezekiel? Was it Isaiah or Ezekiel? Isaiah, what was that first scripture? 18. All right, Isaiah 45 and 18. Then we went here to Jeremiah 25 and 31 through 33. And now we're going to John 9 and 1, right? All right, so let's get John 9 and 1 to get an understanding of the premature birth that Ezekiel is spoken to about around this end time is similar to this instance that we're about to read here, where a man was born blind. Everybody understands? All right, so let's go ahead and read it. Get John chapter 9, verse 1. Young man, tell you got it. No sweat. Do your thing. Do your thing.
John chapter 9, verse 1. And as Jesus passed by and saw a man which was blind from his birth.
Now pause. Christ is walking by. He see a man, this cat blind. Somebody says, yeah, man, this cat been blind his whole life. He ain't never been able to see. Everybody understands. This cat was born blind. Read on.
Verse 2. And his disciples asked him, saying, Master, who did send this man or his parents that he was born blind?
So the disciples asked Christ, Salakia, sir, who's responsible for this man being blind? Who sinned? That now they believe that being blind is a punishment. They believe that being born blind is a horrible thing. Who's responsible for this man being born blind? Who sinned? Who's being punished because of this man being born blind? Was it his parents who sinned? Now, why would this man being blind, why would his parents be responsible for that? Why would they ask that? Why would they think that his parents would be responsible for him being born blind?
Oh, is it because the parents probably did something wrong, so the Most High punished them?
How is a child being blind a punishment to the parents? Why would the Lord punish the parents by giving them a blind child? That's what I want you to think about. Everybody understands. If you've never experienced it, not if you've never experienced it, they viewed having a handicapped child as a punishment. They viewed it like, oh yeah, that baby blind. They messed up. That's what they get. They get the blind baby over there, and they got to deal with that blind baby. And that's a common thing in society. You know what I'm saying? You look at, it's messed up, man. I got that blind kid. You understand? When just because a child is blind don't mean it's an evil thing. Hell, Stevie Wonder, well, I don't know if Stevie Wonder blind. Stevie Wonder might can see. I done heard Stevie Wonder be driving and everything. I don't know. But he makes some beautiful music. Nigga can't see, he makes some beautiful songs. Ribbon in the Sky, Stevie Wonder got some hits. You go back in history, Ray Charles. That nigga could not, he went blind. He wasn't born blind, he went blind. Ray Charles makes some music. Everybody understand? You go in history, I don't know if it's Beethoven or Mozart, one of them niggas was blind. Everybody understand? So who's to say that being blind is a sin? Is a punishment. They assumed it. They assumed somebody did some evil for this to happen. Why would that happen to you? And think of in your life, if you've never grown up with someone who was handicapped, I remember we was young kids. I remember teasing kids in school about, handicaps. But if you know somebody who has a child who's handicapped, it's an extreme difficulty, man. It's a lot of stress on the parent to deal with a child who has a handicap. Everybody understand? So that's why the disciples, they assumed that it was something negative, this child being born blind. Everybody understand? I see the answers in the chat, but I haven't even gotten to the regeneration part of it. That's not even what I'm asking about yet. I just want everybody to know they're asking who sinned because they assumed this man being blind was a punishment from God. So they want to know who's God punishing. Is God punishing the parents to have a child who they got to give all this extra attention and care to because he's blind? Or is God punishing the child because the nigga born and can't see? That's why they're asking who sinned. Everybody understand? It's important to understand that that's what they thought. They thought this cat being blind is a horrible thing. It's evil. Surely God is punishing somebody. That's why they're asking who sinned, this man or his parents? Now we get to the other part of the question. How could this man sin if he was born blind? How can you be punished for something you ain't never did nothing? They understood regeneration. They understood that these children that are born of women, this is not their first time being here. That spirit that's in that child has been here before, and the Lord has sent that spirit in that child here for that child to live out its judgment. Everybody understands? And I tell brothers and sisters all the time, you being in the truth, for you to be in the truth, your children were someone amazing in the past because the Lord saw fit for them to be born to righteous parents. Most I saw fit for your children to be born to a man who he gave the truth to. That's a whole hell of a lot better than what he did for me. I was not born to niggas with the truth. You understand? Clap that up. I was not born to parents in the truth, family in the truth. And so because of that, I lived a horrible, rough life. Everybody understand? We all lived a horrible, rough life because we didn't have the truth. Understand this. A lot of what you experienced growing up in the world was for you to know what life was like without the Lord in your life. Like I used to look back on certain things in my life and be mad and have a lot of pain and anger attached to them. But when I understood that those things they shaped me to be who I am today, I look back and I'm thankful for those experiences. I'm thankful for the challenges that God gave me so that when I overcame them, I would know anything is possible if you got the Lord in your life. I've overcome some things that was not possible if it wasn't for God. If I would not have stood with the Lord, I would have been a victim to all the things I suffered growing up. I would not have been able to overcome them. I wouldn't have been able to function normally in this world, which is why I know a lot of brothers and sisters who are out here and they sinning and they living these different lifestyles and they all of this destructive behavior is because they don't know the Most High. You know what I'm saying? And even I'm angry at this society, but I feel for a lot of these brothers and sisters because I know it's all good. Let them be all good. Let them go. You know what I'm saying? He's an expressive little baby. You know what I'm saying? He just want to be heard. That's all. But I understand that the things that I went through in life, I had to go through them in order for me to become who I am today. And for all of us, that is why we went through those things. The Most High presents challenges for you to overcome them so that you can see what life is like when you serve the Most High. And you can always remember what it was like when you didn't. Everybody understand? All right, so that's that. They understood in regeneration. They understood reincarnation. They understood that the spirit in these babies is the spirit of somebody who lived before. That's why they asked that question. Everybody understand? So for Shabal, now let's keep reading. Let's keep reading about the answer to the question that these brothers asked. Let's get Christ's response.
Verse 3, Jesus answered, neither had this man sinned nor his parents, but the work of God should be made manifest in him.
Christ said, neither did this man sin or his parents. He was born blind so that God could show his power through him. Sometimes in life, certain things happen just so that the Most High can show his power. You understand? Imagine having a kid, your child is born handicapped. Satan tells you God punishing you for all that evil you did. You thinking this child is a punishment or this child being this way is because of something evil. And then 25 years later, this child gets to cure the cancer. Well, damn. You mean to tell me this crippled child who everybody wrote off, who everybody said couldn't do nothing, who everybody said was a curse and an evil and a punishment, you mean to tell me God used him to do something amazing? Well, damn. That's amazing. This cat's whole life, he was blind. Why? So that when Christ came and healed him, everybody would know the power of God was with this man because he got healed. Well, now that changes the whole perspective on the whole lifetime of what everybody thought was something evil. That's the power of God. Everybody understands. And you got to know that whatever you experience, whatever you endure in life, God is doing it so that he will be glorified. If you can overcome the things that have been put in your life to challenge you, think of all the people who would look at you and say, God is real. This brother was able to overcome that, man. The Lord is real. This sister was able to overcome the things that we know happen in their life. God is real. Well, that's your story. You no different than this blind brother. Everybody understands. You just have to have the faith the blind brother had so that you can be healed and overcome. Everybody understands. All right, so that's that on that, Shabal. This is a precept to let you know that these children being born premature is not a punishment. We don't have the tools to judge if something is a punishment or not. You get a child, man, whatever the condition that child is in, the Most High wanted it. We don't know why. Nobody gonna tell you, that's what you get. That's why that child born crippled. Nobody better not ever do that. Because that would be assuming to have the mind of God. Everybody understand? Nobody should assume that. All right, so and also be careful when you encounter people in the world. You meet people and they got different situations and different circumstances. Be careful to just say, oh, you evil, that's why. You don't know why somebody has something. You don't know why they're going through what they're going through. What your role and responsibility is to be the example of what it's like when you serve God. Everybody understands. But don't be careful to condemn people. Be careful to just write somebody off and say, oh, you nigga, you evil. That's why you this and that. Be careful with that. Everybody understands. Now, I'm not saying you should warn people. You know somebody living evil, you should say, man, you should change your life, man. You should serve the Lord. But don't, that's why you ain't shit, because you smoke weed. Don't do that. Because you don't, you know what I'm saying? You just don't know. Everybody understands. But you always you should be the example of what life looks like when you serve God, so that you could be an influence to other brothers and sisters to have them say, well, damn, if he was able to get cleaned up, if they was able to become better, then I should be able to become better too. And that's what the Most High that's what the Most High wants from what it is he puts us through. He puts us through these things so that when we overcome, when we endure, other people will look and say, that's the power of God. And that's how you give the Most High the glory and everything. Everybody understands? All right, Shabal. So you Tawab on this whole thing. The brother said the water much appreciated. Most High in Christ. Did you have any other anything else you needed broken down? Or anybody else got any questions that they wanted to ask? All right, if we didn't have anything else, I'm gonna go ahead and go into the topic of tonight's class, which is protecting the family jewels and the effects of an enduring culture. All right. So the brother asked a question last week about the Ark of the Covenant. The brother wanted to get an understanding of what the Ark of the Covenant was, and I'm assuming it's let me go ahead and see what I can pull up. Let me see some Ark of the Covenant. Hold on. Hold on, Salaki. Well, first let's go into the hold on. All right. Hold on. All right, let's get okay. Hold on. Hold on. Nope. Trying to get where the Moses gave Moses the instructions. All right. Let's see something. All right. So let's get Exodus chapter 25 and 10. Exodus 25 and 10. Right. Before we get started, let me go ahead and get the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, the definition of the Ark of the Covenant. All right. This is what we have here, the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. I do have a big Zondervan Bible Dictionary. Here shortly, I'm gonna buy a bookshelf. We're gonna have books here in the classes. All right. And it'll be books that brothers can use for references, but I'm gonna also start teaching out of some of those books. A lot of these breakdowns we're gonna have in classes gonna come out of these books, and I want y'all to be able to have notes on them. All right. Because the goal, of course, is for young men and troopers to mature and become officers and be teachers one day. Everybody understand? So these classes, the purpose is for one day you brothers to be teaching these classes, all right? So everything that I'm teaching in these classes, take notes on them so you have them for the time come when you to begin teaching. Everybody understand? So the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, anytime you want to get an understanding of anything concerning the scriptures, Zondervan Bible Dictionary is a good source to go to. Everybody understands? It's the chief one that we use in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge because it has been vetted and been checked thoroughly for the inconsistencies and the incorrections that may exist due to the scholars who put it together. But for the most part, this is a trustworthy source. Everybody understands. So let's go ahead and get Ark of the Covenant. All right, we'll get a breakdown on what they say concerning the Ark of the Covenant. That we're going to the scriptures on it. All right. All right. Let's get so hold up. All right, hold on. Okay. It says Ark of the Covenant or of the testimony. It says chest of the covenant. All right, so ark is another word for chest. All right. All right, so it says so it says the Ark of the Covenant is a chest containing the tables of the law resting in the tabernacle or in the temple. God told Moses, Exodus 25, 10 through 22, Deuteronomy 10, 2 through 5, how to make it. It went before Israel in the wilderness journeys to search out a resting place for them. It was instrumental in the crossing of Jordan on dry land under Joshua and in the capture of Jericho. Joshua prayed before the ark after the defeat at Ai in Joshua 7 and 6, and after the subsequent victory at Mount Ebal. Turn that down, Bubba Sean. No sweat. It says, at Mount Ebal, the ark being present in Joshua 8 and 33. In the days of Eli, the ark was in the tabernacle at Shiloh. 1 Samuel 3 and 3. It was captured by the Philistines and held until a plague convinced them that the ark was too dangerous to keep, and it was ceremoniously sent back. That's in 1 Samuel 5, 1 through 6. All right, it says David brought the ark to Jerusalem in 2 Samuel 6, 1 Chronicles 13 and 15. After the destruction of the first temple, there is no evidence as to what happened to the ark, but only highly speculative tradition and conjecture. Synagogues from our earliest knowledge of them to the present have had arks in the side wall toward Jerusalem. Therein, the scrolls of the law are stored behind a curtain. Everybody understand? So that's the definition of the Ark of the Covenant. In essence, it was a chest where we kept family heirlooms. What were our family heirlooms? The Ark of the Covenant. Not the Ark of the Covenant. It was a table that the law was written on. The staff of Moses was placed inside the Ark of the Covenant. I want to say Israel's bone. No, somebody's bones was put in the Ark of the Covenant as well. I'll get that in the scriptures. Go ahead, Ash. I think it might have been Jacob's. I can find it real quick, sis. The and the Thummim. I believe Aaron's and Thummim was put in there. We're going to go find that in the scriptures right now. But understand that, in essence, the Ark of the Covenant was just a box that was covered in gold. We're going to read the designing of it right now. But there's been a lot. It was just a family heirloom. But understand that God established that family heirlooms are important. You understand? Family heirlooms or family jewels, it establishes a legacy. It's a physical thing, but sometimes physical things can carry great value when it comes to remembering the past, remembering those that came before you. It's not strange. The Ark of the Covenant is not strange in that, hey, we're humans like everybody, and culture is the same no matter who you are, no matter where you go. Culture is what establishes your society. It's what holds everybody together. It's what keeps you tied. The Ark of the Covenant was important to us because it was a symbol of our culture. It was a symbol of our beginning. It was a symbol. It was a thing that when you saw it, you thought of everything that this nation been through, everything that God brought us through. You understand? Having the Ark of the Covenant is like the Muslims having Mecca. That mosque that they go and they circle, that thing that they kiss. It's like the white man having, the Washington, not the Washington Monument, but having, the Abraham Lincoln Memorial. You go there and see this giant statue of Lincoln, or you go over to Mount Rushmore. You know what I'm saying? Those things are important for societies in order to give them something to fight to maintain, to fight to hold on to. Everybody understands? And so we as a nation, we were given laws not to make idols, because the Lord didn't want us worshiping things that didn't deserve to be worshiped. So he gave us a box that they covered in gold, that he put some angels on it, and it put all the important things concerning our history and our becoming a nation in this box, so that when the people saw it, that was the symbol of our nation. Everybody understand? And as we go through it, so I wanted to establish that the Ark of the Covenant was important for us as a nation because it was a symbol of our culture, a symbol of our heritage. And having that gave us strength. Having that gave us it's inspired us to fight harder in times of warfare. You know what I'm saying? But it also, we'll get into it. It also, the Lord used the Ark of the Covenant as a symbol of establishing how serious he was about this nation. Because as we're going to get into, he made some rules about this Ark of the Covenant. And he was definitely serious about these rules. Everybody understand? So we're going to get into it. All right. Let's start Exodus chapter 25. And we're going to start at verse 10. All right. All right. So, matter of fact, hold on. Let me see something. All right, so this is Exodus chapter 25 and 10. I'll read it. It says, and they shall make an ark of shittim wood. 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. So here's the dimensions, all right? I'm not sure how big a cubit is, right? But it's 2 cubits and a half is the length. A cubit and a half is the breadth, so long and wide is 2.5 by 1.5 cubits. And then the height of it is a cubit and a half. All right. It says, and thou shalt, verse 11, and thou shalt overlay it with pure gold, within and without shalt thou overlay it, and shall make upon it a crown of gold round about. So the Lord said, covered in gold on the inside and the outside. And when he said make a crown, meaning on the top of it, make a crown, make ridges, make the top of it look good. Everybody understands? Verse 12, and thou shalt cast 4 rings of gold for it, and put them in the 4 corners thereof, and 2 rings shall be on the one side of it, and 2 rings on the other side of it. So, in addition to covering it in gold, you're gonna make 4 golden rings and put those golden rings at the corner of the box. All right, we're gonna find out what these rings, the purpose of these rings, for in a second. Verse 13, and thou shalt make staves of shittim wood, and overlay them with gold. Meaning what? You're going to make two posts of wood and cover that with gold. And thou shalt put the staves into the rings by the sides of the ark, that the ark may be borne with them. So these 4 rings are made so that these 4 posts, these 2 posts, can go through the 4 rings on either side, so that 2 men in the front, 2 men in the back can carry this box. Everybody understand? Verse 17. Salaki, verse 18. No, not Salaki. Okay, verse 15. The staves shall be in the rings of the ark; they shall not be taken from it. These staves, these 2 posts that you're making, they're gonna stay inside. They're gonna always be in the ark. You're never gonna take them out. Everybody understand? Verse 15. Verse 16. And thou shalt put into the ark the testimony which I shall give thee. What is the testimony that the Lord was talking about? The 10 Commandments, all right? Verse 18. No, Salaki. Verse 16. Verse 17. And thou shalt make a mercy seat of pure gold. 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof. What is a mercy seat? So I can make sure everybody understand what we read. What is a mercy seat? This is very simple. I just want to make sure that everybody understands. Sometimes when we read the Bible, we can overcomplicate things. I don't want y'all to overcomplicate things. Just read what you see. Very simple. What is a mercy seat? Anybody? Officer Kamayala.
Like a lead, like you cover.
No. Let's keep reading. Maybe I'll come up with it. All right. Verse 17. And thou shalt make a mercy seat of pure gold. 2.5 cubits shall be the length thereof, and 1.5 cubits the breadth thereof. Verse 18, and thou shalt make 2 cherubims of gold. Of beaten work shalt thou make them in the 2 ends of the mercy seat. And make 1 cherub on the one end, and the other cherub on the other end, even of the mercy seat, shall ye make the 2 cherubims of the 2 ends thereof. And the cherubim shall stretch forth their wings on high, covering the mercy seat with their wings, and their faces shall look one to another. Toward the mercy seat shall the faces of the cherubims be. What are we talking about? Come on, y'all. Okay. If I'm making it, what am I making? Am I making a throne of the Most High? Huh? Not an altar, no. Again, the answer is very simple. The Shabbal said it's the mercy seat, the seat where the Most High sits. Okay, if I'm making it, am I saying to myself, I'm making the throne of the Most High? What is the person making it? What is the instructions to the person? These are the instructions God has given to Moses. When Moses goes to relay this to the carpenter who's cutting, or the goldsmith who's melting the gold and shaping it, what is he telling this brother that he wants, sis? No. No. A little chair. You can just make a little chair, that's all. It's just a little chair to go on top of the box. That's it. Everybody understands. The mercy seat is a little chair that goes on top of the box. The 2 cherubims is gold-plated angels to go across the front of the box. So there's a box with a crown on the top of it. This looks beautiful. There's 4 rings, 2 posts that go through for the men to carry it. As the men carrying it on the front of the box, the Lord wanted a little chair and 2 angels facing each other with the wings coming, touching each other across the front of the chair. Just like I got a Cadillac outside, and on my little Cadillac, I got a little Cadillac emblem that sits there on the front of my little Cadillac. Some cats drive there's a Rolls Royce. The Rolls Royce, you start that engine up, there's a little lady that pops up out of the middle of the car. She sits on the front of the car like this and let everybody know this is my Rolls Royce. The Lord wanted that on she wanted a little chair with some bad bitches on the front of it. So I don't know if the cherubims was women or not. But he wanted he wanted this thing to be fly. It's gold, it's got a crown on it. It got the seat up there sitting on the front. The angel, he wanted everybody when they saw this thing to say, that's the Ark of the Covenant. He swagged it out. Everybody understands. But now, what is this? What does the seat and the cherubims represent? It's a representation of the throne of the Most High. But of course, Moses ain't never seen. Nobody's ever seen it. But the Lord gave Moses these instructions that I want you to put this on this ark because that's what it represents. This box is a symbol of our connection with the Most High. Everybody understands, which is why what went inside the box, all the things that the Most High gave us to make us a great nation. That's why the tables of the testimony went inside of it, because this was the symbol of our connection to God. Everybody understand? But just so you can simplify it in your mind, when the God is saying make a mercy seat, he's just saying make a little chair. Make a little chair. This is how long and how tall and how high the chair is going to be. Make 2 cherubims. Cherubims were our type of angel. They're like protecting angels, angels who hold shamar for the Lord. Make 2 cherubims. This is how I want them to look. They're gonna be facing each other. Their wings gonna be stretched forth across the front of the mercy seat. That's the design of the ark. Everybody understand? Continuing reading. Exodus 25 and 21. And thou shalt put the mercy seat above upon the ark, and in the ark shalt thou put the testimony that I shall give thee. Verse 22. And there I will meet with thee, and I will commune with thee from above the mercy seat, from between the 2 cherubims which are upon the ark of the testimony, of all things which I will give thee in commandment unto the children of Israel. Everybody understand? So why was this little mercy seat there? Because the Most High, when he would commune with Moses or come speak with Moses, his essence would appear hovering above that seat that Moses made. Everybody understand? All right. Verse 20. Now, okay. I ain't gonna say all that. So let's keep going. Verse 23. Thou shalt also make a table of shittim wood. 2 cubits shall be the length thereof, and a cubit the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. And thou shalt overlay it with pure gold, and make thereto a crown of gold round about. And thou shalt make unto it a border of an hand breadth round about, and thou shalt make a golden crown to the border thereof round about. And thou shalt make it 4 rings of gold, and put the rings in the 4 corners that are on the 4 feet thereof. Over against the border shall the rings be for places of the staves to bear the table. And thou shalt make the staves of shittim wood, and overlay them with gold, that the table may be borne with it. Thou shalt make the dishes there. So aside from the Ark of the Covenant, the Most High wanted a table to be made for the priests. This is going into something different. Everybody understand? But we get the general design of the Ark of the Covenant, right? All right. So let's go to where the Most High gave the instructions for the Levites only to touch or come in contact with this Ark of the Covenant. All right. All right. So let's get Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 8. Right, let's get Deuteronomy 10 and 5. Deuteronomy 10 and 5 says, And I turned myself and came down from the mount, and put the tables in the ark which I had made, and there they be as the Lord commanded me. Everybody understands? So Moses brought the tables down, put them inside the ark. Everybody understands? Verse 8, Deuteronomy 10 and 8. At that time, the Lord separated. But now let's read verse 6. This is important. And the children of Israel took their journey from Beeroth of the children of Jachan to Moserah. There Aaron died, and he was buried, and Eleazar, his son, ministered in the priest's office in his stead. So Aaron died, and his son now became Moses' right-hand man. Everybody understand? Eleazar rose up into Aaron's seat. Everybody understand? Verse 7, from thence they journeyed into Gudgoda, and from Gudgoda to Jotbath, a land of rivers of waters. Verse 8, at that time, real quick, what's a land of rivers of waters? Just what comes to mind when you think of a land of rivers of waters? The ocean. Come on, y'all. Not the ocean. The sea. Not the sea. Just think today. And remember, this is ancient language, right? People a long time ago, this is how they're speaking about a land. What would we call today a land of many rivers, or a land where there's a lot of water flowing in and out of it? Swamp land. This was a land that was swampy. There's water everywhere. All kind of. Hell, we don't know where there's so many rivers around. We don't know what water this is, but there's water everywhere. This is like a swamp land. Everybody understand? It's a land of many rivers. It's a land that. How else do you explain swamp land? Imagine trying to describe a swamp land to somebody. This is a land with many rivers. Everywhere that there's swamp land today, there's all kinds of body of water passing through here. I don't know what water this is. It's a swamp land. Everybody understand? So that's the travel from Gudgoda to Jotbath. They travel through the swamp. All right. Verse 8. At that time, the Most High separated the tribe of Levi to bear the ark of the covenant of the Most High, to stand before the Most High, to minister unto him, and to bless in his name unto this day. Wherefore Levi have no part nor inheritance with his brethren. The Lord is his inheritance, according as the Lord thy God promised him. Now, understand this. You want to know why Levi never had an inheritance among the 12 tribes of Israel? Because the Most High gave them the special privileges of ministering to him. Everybody understand? This carrying of the Ark of the Covenant and being able to be made high priest, to go in to the place where the seat of the Lord was, to deal with the Most High, that was a special honor and a privilege provided for this family. Everybody understands? That was their job. That was their duty. That was their service. They weren't getting any inheritance. They weren't getting any lands because they were already made special by being anointed the people who the Lord would deal with. Everybody understand? So among these 12 tribes of Israel, there was only one family that would deal with the Lord. That's what Levi was. That's how special they were made. And because of that, they had enough special privileges. They didn't need to have no land carved out for themselves, no special land of Levi. Hell, they was already special. And they were to live among all the tribes to minister to serve the Most High for the people. That's what the responsibility was given to the tribe of Levi. Everybody understand? All right. Verse 10. And I stayed in the mount according to the first time 40 days and 40 nights, and the Most High hearkened unto me at that time also, and the Most High would not destroy thee. Everybody understand that, right? All right, so let's drop that. All right, let's get to where the brother who wasn't supposed to have anything to do with this ark interfered with the business of the men who were responsible for this ark, and let's see what took place. All right, and then hopefully get some understanding on why this took place. All right. All right. All right, let's get Deuteronomy 31 and 26. I've got Deuteronomy 31 and 9. All right. It's Deuteronomy 31 and Deuteronomy chapter 39. And let's go on. All right. Yeah, Deuteronomy 31 and 9. Let's read it. Officer Kamayala, you got it.
Oh, come. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verse 9. And Moses wrote this law and delivered it unto the priests and sons of Levi, which brought the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and unto all the elders of Israel. And Moses commanded them, saying, at the end of every 7 years, in the assembly of the year of release, and the feast of tabernacle, when all Israel is come to appear before the host, before the Lord thy God, in the place which he shall choose, like it. Thou shalt read this law before all Israel in their hearing.
So Moses said, Moses took the law, meaning all the rules and the instructions that the Most High gave for our nation. Moses had wrote all those down. He gave it to the priest and said, here, take this, put it inside the side of the ark. So what did the ark have in it? The ark had drawers. Put this in the drawer of the Ark of the Covenant. And every 7 years in the solemnity, that word, all right? Solemnity. What is the solemnity? All right? What is it? Well, let's go ahead and get the definition, because I can't even tell y'all what the definition is. I was going to break it down, but let's just go ahead and get the definition, all right? All right. Merriam-Webster Dictionary. All right, solemnity in the Merriam-Webster Dictionary means a formal or ceremonious observance of an occasion or event. Everybody understand? A formal or ceremonious observance of an occasion or event, or a solemn event or occasion. All right. Why is the Feast of Tabernacles every 7 years a solemn occasion? Or why would it be the Most High? Again, Deuteronomy chapter 31, where we at? Verse 10. And Moses commanded them, saying, at the end of every 7 years, in the solemnity of the year of release, in the Feast of Tabernacles. What is the significance of every 7 years? In the solemnity of the year of the release. What is it talking about here? For time's sake, in Israel, every 7 years was considered a year of Jubilee. All right. A year of Jubilee was a year of everyone being released from their debts. I mean, anybody who owed a fine, anybody who was responsible for paying something back, every 7 years, there was a formal release of you from all debts. Everybody understands? So in the celebration of that, when everybody would gather together, Moses wanted the law to be reestablished for everybody to know going forward, your slate has been wiped clean, but don't be found guilty of anything again. That's why they would read all the law to reiterate, you've been set free, but this is why you was punished before. Don't get punished again. This law was that important that Moses wanted them to make sure that they used it for that purpose. Everybody understand? Again, all these things is what? It's establishing culture. It's establishing tradition. It's establishing values and morals, and that's what the Ark of the Covenant symbolized. Everybody understands? Everything surrounding the building of this ark and the carrying of it before the nation and the storing of the law and the storing of the staff of Moses, all of it was to be a precious heirloom for us to cling to. Everybody understand? All right. Let's keep reading in Deuteronomy 31 after verse 11. All right. So after verse 12. Go ahead, Kamayala, you got it. No, verse 12.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verse 12. Gather the people together, men and women and children, and thy strangers that is within the gate, and it's like it is within thy gate, that they may hear, and that they may learn, and fear the Lord your God, and observe to do all the words of this law, and that their children which have not known anything may hear and learn and fear the Lord your God, as long as ye live in the land, whether ye go over Jordan to possess it. And the Lord said unto Moses, behold, thy days approach that thou must die. Call Joshua and present yourselves in the tabernacle of the congregation, that I may give him a charge. Right. And Moses and Joshua went and presented themselves in the tabernacle of the congregation.
So boom, understand this. So Moses, the Lord commanded Moses to bring the people together and to recharge them with fearing the Most High, keeping his laws, and being serious about the covenant that we made with him. And you see a lot of this early on because the Most High really wanted us to understand how serious he was about this covenant. The Most High knew that a lot of these niggas wasn't serious about it, but he wanted them to be reminded constantly so that there wouldn't be anybody to say, I didn't know. And that's something that reoccurs in our nation throughout the Bible. It's always the whole purpose of the sending of the prophets was to refresh everybody's memory about this deal that you made. There's no getting out of this. The whole purpose of the prophets was every generation needed to be reminded, nigga, y'all made a deal with God. You can't get out of that. No matter what you do, you want to know why your life is this way? Because you're trying to run from this deal that your forefather made with God. There's no running from it. The reason why we're in the earth today is because we need a reminder. Black people have no idea why their lives are the way that they are. We have no idea why is it so hard. Why are we suffering so much? If there's a God and he's real, there can't be no God. Because look at how my life. They need someone to remind them, your forefathers made a deal with God. That's why these things are happening to you. We look all over the earth. Everybody is striving. Everybody is making it. Everybody is coming up. Right here in Memphis, Tennessee. I don't know if y'all seen it, but East Indians is popping up like roaches. I have no idea where all these red dots coming from. They everywhere. They ain't just at the 7-Eleven or the Dunkin' Donuts. They everywhere. They at the T-Mobile store. They at the fucking gas station. They at FedEx. They at where the hell all these Indians come from? I had to ask the cat at the T-Mobile store the other day. Hey, my man, you don't mind me asking where you from? Oh, I'm from Sri Lanka. I'm like, okay, if you don't mind me asking, I was up at the University of Memphis, taking all the black people's jobs. Mm-hmm. You go to Chick-fil-A and order a sandwich, and it's, hello, man, help you? How can I? Bitch, you can't even take my order. How you working at Chick-fil-A at a university in the city of Memphis, and y'all don't even understand what the fuck you saying? Everybody's striving. And they look at us like, what's wrong with these people? Why can't they get right? I just seen a news report that Latino spending in America makes them the 7th largest GDP in the earth. Gross domestic product is a measurement of how much financial power you hold as a people. Right. The Hispanics or Latinos in this country are making and spending so much money that if they were listed as and this goes to show you that we aren't counted as a nation. If they were listed as a nation on the earth, they would be the 7th most richest nation on the earth. After America, China, France, Germany, England, Hispanics. Why don't we own anything? Why don't we have a government? Why are we at the mercy of our oppressor at the border or on the other side of the border in Mexico? Why? Because you're running from God. You refuse to face the reality that your forefathers made a deal you cannot get out of. There is no escaping what is written in the words of this law. If you want to be ooky spooky about it, it's like a curse, a spell was casted. You can't escape it. You can't get away from it. This is your life, one way or another. Either you're going to obey the Father and return to him, and it'll be a blessing to you, or you run away from the Father, disobey him, and it will be a curse. But we are people who the earth doesn't want you to know that's why you're suffering. So the Lord has to send his prophets. He has to send men to remind you. You want to know why everything's so horrible? Because you're running away from God. And we want to do everything but what God says to do. Up there at university, the amount of children that is pledging to these Greek fraternities is mind-boggling. You would think that black people, knowing the legacy of slavery and the horrors of slavery, would know not to have their children go. Understand, a pledge is it's like offering yourself as tribute, offering yourself to be a servant. People send their children to these colleges where they pledge a Greek fraternity. They brand themselves literally with an iron and fire, brand a Greek letter onto their body and go through all of these rituals that are ancient to pledge themselves servants of their masters who are the Greeks. You would think black people would say that's insane. That's crazy. I would never do that. But they do it. They urge their children to do it. Your daddy was an Alpha Kappa. Your mama was an Alpha Kappa Alpha. Your daddy was a Omega Psi Phi. You better go and you better represent the family and God. But we come and say, you God's chosen people. You got to give up this and give up that. And you got to dedicate your life to serving God and living the right way. We a cult? We crazy? You ain't got to get paddle spanked in here. You ain't got to do no funky ritual here. You ain't got to, nobody gonna touch you or do some secret private thing that can't nobody know about. That don't happen in here. But we the crazy ones? No. We deserve every bit of horror that happens to us in this place. Every bit of evil that comes down on us in this place, we deserve it. because we are just as grossly rebellious against God today as we've always been. And God got to send the prophets to remind you. That way, you don't have an excuse. Maybe there was an excuse when nobody was telling you, but there's no excuse now. You know better. In every generation, God sends men so that you know better. There's no excuse. Everybody understands. All right. So Moses this was their re-warning. But I want you to understand that God told Moses, go get Joshua. I want to charge Joshua with something. I want to let Joshua know what he's in for. So that's what we're getting to right here in Deuteronomy 31 and verse 15. So Moses and Joshua came to present themselves before the tabernacle. The tabernacle of the congregation was a tent that they set up where the Ark of the Covenant was stored and the table was stored for the priests. Everybody understands? So this is Moses and Aaron in the room before the Ark of the Covenant. Read on.
Come, verse 15. Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 15. And the Lord appeared in the tabernacle in a pillar of a cloud. And the pillar of the cloud stood over the door of the tabernacle.
What is a pillar of a cloud? What is the pillar of a cloud? This is also what was seen when the chariots was this is also what was seen when we was coming out of Egypt. We were led through the wilderness by a pillar of smoke in the day and a pillar of fire by night. What is this pillar of smoke? What would you see if you were there during this time? Come on, y'all. Not a mushroom. It's a pillar. What is a pillar? For time's sake, a pillar is a cylinder-shaped post that goes up and down. All right. So have you ever seen like the Washington Monument, right? Everybody know what that looks like? Or downtown, everybody know the museum downtown is. It's a big university building downtown. Got a big UM flag hanging from it. But outside the building is these big giant posts in front of the building. That's a pillar. All right. So the pillar of smoke is what? For time's sake, it's a beam. It's a beam of smoke coming from the sky. Everybody understands? When Moses and Aaron went into the tabernacle, a beam came into the tent that reached up into the sky. And people looked up, you just see a cloud. But there's a beam coming down, and the beam is full of smoke. Everybody understand? That's what we're reading here. I want you to understand what these people were seeing back then. There was a giant beam coming from the sky that looked like it was smoke. Everybody understand? At night, this giant beam looked like it was on fire. That's what led us out of the wilderness. Everybody understand? This is something that man could not explain at that time. This is something that they couldn't comprehend what they were seeing. They saw a pillar of fire at night and a pillar of smoke in the day. Well, when Moses and Aaron entered this room, the pillar of smoke appeared again, and it came directly down onto the tent. Everybody understands? Let's keep reading. I just want y'all to understand, if you're thinking this is some outer worldly alien type of stuff, that's what it was. This is something from the sky, a beam out of nowhere from the sky is coming into the tent. Everybody understand? Nobody knows where the beam is coming from. Nobody can see where the beam is coming from, but there's a beam going into the tent. People, oh my God, what's going on? Moses and Aaron just went into the tabernacle. The beam is coming down on top of the tabernacle. Everybody understands? All right, let's keep reading.
Come. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verse 16. And the Lord said unto Moses, behold, thou shalt sleep with thy father.
So if I could, out of this pillar of smoke, the Lord begins to speak. Moses and Aaron are hearing the voice of the Lord. Everybody understands? Keep reading.
Come. And these people will I rise up and go a whoring after the gods of the strangers of the land, whether they go to be amongst them, and will forsake me and break my covenant which I have made with them.
So the Most High is warning Moses in front of Aaron. Moses, you're going to die soon. And when you die, these people are going to go to hell off. They're going to forget you. They're going to forget everything that I've done. They're going to go whoring after these other nations and after their women and after their culture and after their ways. They are going to abandon you and abandon me and turn their back on everything. Joshua is hearing this. Everybody saying, keep reading.
Verse 17. Then my anger shall be kindled against them in that day, and I will forsake them, and I will hide my face from them, and they shall be devoured, and many evils and troubles like many evils and troubles shall befall them, so that they will say in that day, are not these evil come upon us because our God is not among us? And I will surely hide my face in that day, for all the evils which they shall have wrought, and that they are turned unto other gods. Now therefore, write ye this song for you, and teach it to the children of Israel. Put it in their mouths, that this song may be a witness for me against the children of Israel. For when I shall have brought them into the land which I have sworn unto their fathers, they flow it with milk and honey, and they shall have eaten and filled themselves, and waxed fat. It's like they're waxing fat. Then will they turn into other gods and serve them, and provoke me and break my covenant. And it shall come to pass, when many evils and troubles are befalling them, that this song shall testify against them as a witness. For it shall not be forgotten out of the mouth of their seed. For I know their imagination which they go about even now, before I have brought them into the land which I swore. Moses therefore wrote this song the same day and taught it to the children of Israel. And he gave Joshua and the son of Nun a charge and said, be strong and of a good courage, for thou shalt bring the children of Israel into the land which I swore unto them, and I will be with thee. And it came to pass, when Moses had made an end that Moses commanded the Levites which bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord, saying, take this book of the law and put it in the side of the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, that it may be there for a witness against thee. For I know that thy rebellion and thy stiff-neck, behold, while I am yet alive with you this day, ye have been rebellious against the Lord, and how much more after my death? Gather unto me all the elders of your tribe.
So like we can stop right there. Everybody understands. Moses and Joshua was given this witness from the Most High that this people was going to go off and do evil after Moses died. Everybody understands. And the Lord told Moses, put it in a song. Maybe they remember it that way. They love a nice, hot 16. You understand? Moses wrote a song about the evil of Israel, about Israel going off, and they made sure that all of Israel learned this song, but they also took that, put it in the book as well. Everybody understand? Again, culture, history, remembering the past, knowing where you come from. All these things were symbolized in that Ark of the Covenant. Everybody understands? All right. Now let's get to scripture where the brother get killed for touching the Ark of the Covenant. All right. Hold on. All right, hold on. Bear with me. Hold on. We'll get First Chronicles 13 and 9. No, sorry. 2 Samuel 6 and 1. I think I covered this in class before. The whole situation and circumstances surrounding this brother and what happened with the ark. All right. 6. All right, so here we go. 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 1. Now understand, David came along about, I'm trying to think of how many years after Moses. It's maybe 200 years after Moses, right? The Ark of the Covenant had been a thing in Israel for a long time at that point. Goes out before us in battle, goes, before the war, and it helped us destroy the walls of Jericho. The Ark of the Covenant was exactly what the Most High planned for it to be, a very significant item of our culture, very significant artifact. Everybody understand? Now, David has won some wars, won some battles, and David gathers the children of Israel together, and of course, the Ark of the Covenant is brought there. So the 2 Samuel 6 and 1, I'll read it. It says, again, David gathered together all the chosen men of Israel, 30,000. And David arose and went with all the people that were with him in Baali of Judah to bring up from thence the ark of God, whose name is called by the name of the Most High of hosts that dwelleth between the cherubim. And they set the ark of God upon a new cart and brought it out of the house of Abinadab that was in Gibeah. And Uzzah and Ahio, the sons of Abinadab, drave the new cart. And they brought it out of the house of Abinadab, which was at Gibeah, accompanying the cart of God, and Ahio went before the ark. And David and all the house of Israel played before the Lord on all manner of instruments made of fir wood, even on harps, and on psalteries, and on timbrels, and on cornets, and on cymbals. And when they came to the Akon's threshing floor, Uzzah put forth his hand to the ark of God and took hold of it, for the oxen shook it. Now, this ark is not being carried by men, as it was intended in the beginning. By this time, we've advanced as a nation. Well, we got a big cart to put it on. They got it on the cart. Oxen is in the front. Cart is attached to the oxen dragging the cart through wherever they at. As they traveling, there's no longer men carrying it. Why do that when you got we got 4 wheels and two big ass bulls put it on the back of there? Right. Well, the bulls shook it. They shook, and the ark shook. Uzzah had no reason to touch the ark. It was safe on that cart. He used the shaking of it as an excuse to touch it. He wanted to touch it the whole time. He secretly wished that he had been carrying it so he could have touched it. This was not him trying to save the day. This wasn't, oh my God. No, this was, he already wanted to touch it. He touched it because he thought he could get away with it. The oxen shook, the cart shook. He's, oh my God, touched it when really he wanted to touch it the whole time. He touched it. But there were strict orders not to touch it. That no man, if you ain't the high priest or a high-ranking Levite, you're not to touch the ark. This is a precious thing. Nobody touches it. This brother always wanted to touch it. His whole life he wanted to touch it. Everybody understand? 2 Samuel 6 and 7. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Uzzah, and God smote him there for his error, and there he died by the ark of God. So he had a heart attack or a seizure or died instantly because he touched it. Everybody understands? Now, this is a very big, it's a party they all having. This is a celebration. Nigga touched the ark and died. Everybody, now the party's over. The party is over. The music stopped. What happened? Uzzah touched the ark. Check him, make sure he's dead. Damn, Uzzah. Why you do that? Let's read on. 2 Samuel 6 and 8. And David was displeased because the Lord had made a breach upon Uzzah. And he called the name of the place Perez Uzzah to this day. And David was afraid of the Lord that day and said, how shall the ark of the Lord come to me? So David would not remove the ark of the Lord unto him into the city of David, but David carried it aside into the house of Obed. These are Levite. These are places where people come to hear the law, to inquire of the Levites' judgment or different things concerning the Lord. Everybody understand? That's why the ark is being stored in these houses, because these are men's houses who are men of God. Everybody understand? There was no temple at this time. The centralized place was supposed to be in the city of David. But the Lord struck Uzzah down and killed him. And David was like, well, I don't want this thing coming to my city. The niggas will be dying left and right. These Jewites is hard. Who knows why? But David is like, okay, I don't want this thing in my city. The niggas just dying. They touching it, they dying. I don't want it coming to Jerusalem. Find somebody whose house we can store it at. So they stored it at this brother Obed Edom, the Gittite. Everybody understands? Verse 11, and the ark of the Lord continued in the house of Obed Edom, the Gittite, 3 months, and the Lord blessed Obed Edom and all his household. And it was told David, saying, the Lord has blessed the house of Obed Edom and all that pertaineth unto him because of the ark of God. So David went and brought up the ark of God from the house of Obed Edom into the city of David with gladness. Everybody understand? These some real carnal niggas, man. This is David. Uzzah died. David like, nah, I don't want nothing to do with it. They go to Obed Edom house. Now the brother's he getting money. His crops is growing. He got some women he got a couple of wives. And David, he get word. Hey man, Obed Edom blowing up. That's just that ark there. They were like, man, go bring that thing bring it up to the city of David. Now they bring it up to the city of David. Everybody understand. And when you understand the Bible is black people, you gotta get it. You can understand it better now. It's more simple. It ain't complex. Nigga, they having a party. The oxen shake, the nigga touch it. He died. David like, oh, the party in, man. Lord, what's going on? Why you do that? You know what I'm saying? Hey man, I don't know if I don't want this thing up in the city of David, man. Niggas dying. Listen, man. Find somebody else to give it to. They find Obed Edom, he get it, it's in his crib. Obed Edom start to thrive, his family doing good. David get word, hey man, the Lord blessing Obed Edom, man. He got that ark of the covenant. The brother, man, he doing things. Hey man, go get that ark, bring it on up to Jerusalem, baby. Now it's coming to the city of David. Don't touch it, baby. Go ahead and bring it on up here. Everybody understand. That's that. There's a lot more history concerning the Ark of the Covenant. Of course, like the dictionary definition at the beginning gave us what happened to it. Went to war with the Philistines, Philistines captured it, but the Lord started to plague the Philistines. Philistines said, we got to get this thing the hell away from us. We got it back in our possession, but after we fell in one of them captivities, we lost track of it. Everybody understands? And to this day, nobody knows what the Ark of the Covenant is. You know, you want to go down a rabbit hole of where's the Ark. There's different documentaries and things on where it may be. There's a group of heathens in Ethiopia say that they have the Ark of the Covenant, but of course, you know, they lying. But the matter of fact, let's get that scripture last. Let's go to 2nd Ezra. I want to say 3, or it might be 6. And no, not 6. It might be 3. 13. It might be. Hold on. Let me see something. Come on, y'all. Where is matter of fact, hold on, I got it. All right, this is it. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 2, verse 19. And this is the end. This is going to end the breakdown on this. But the reason why the Most High wanted us to have significant cultural ties the same way the other nations had. And the thing is, the amazing thing about understanding the scriptures is the thing that we always were jealous of the other nations for having, God gave them to us and gave it to us in a greater degree than what the other nations have. But we've always chosen to follow the other nations instead of the Lord because we never saw the greatness in ourselves that the Most High saw in us by giving us this law. Black people who we hear a lot, especially in this generation, about. I just watched a show the other day about, you know, there was some event where they're talking about leaving a legacy or establishing a legacy. And it talks today about creating generational wealth or doing something in this lifetime that'll last for generations. And we're doing it being jealous of our oppressor. Black people who making money today, who getting college degrees and out there making money, they now are knowing, oh, these white people, their money is not money they made. Their money is their parents' money, their grandparents' money, their great-great-grandparents' money. And black people who are now getting money are trying to pattern themselves after the oppressor. I want to do what the white man's great-great-grandparents did for him. Black people don't realize that the great-great-grandparents of white people established a legacy over ruling over you. The reason why these white kids today have their great-great-grandparents' money is because your great-great-grandparents worked for free. You can't establish generational wealth like the oppressor did because you ain't got a people to oppress. Y'all understand what I'm saying? We envying our oppressor, trying to be like them. I want to give to my kids what the white man gave to his kids. You'll never be able to do it because the white man got it by destroying you. He destroys your parents, which is why you grew up without shit. You want to give your kids something and try to be like the white man when you don't have anybody to treat like to oppress the way the white man did. You understand what I'm saying? If you want a generational wealth, what can provide more wealth than these instructions in this Bible? What greater legacy can you establish for your family than to end all the curses and the plagues by showing your family how to obey God? We are people who are rifled with suffering under the things that our parents and our grandparents and our great-grandparents gave to us. Alcoholism is what was handed down in my family. Drug addiction, prostitution, whoremongering. That's what was given to us. Guess what? You got to break that down. Why were we given alcoholism? Because the oppressor was oppressing us. Why were we given, whoredom? Because the oppressor was oppressing us. Why were we given, that rage? A lot of brothers have a lot of rage and anger. They want to kill something. They don't care what it is. Why do they have that inside of them? Because of the oppressor. You want to break generational curses? It's not education. It's not wealth, accumulation. It's this. It's this culture. It's this mindset. It's this way of life that God gave us. We'll overthrow the oppressor and have 10 times what he has if we follow what was given to us thousands of years ago. Everybody understands? But our people don't want, they'd rather struggle to, build generational wealth and establish a legacy and have something to leave to your kids. I don't care about leaving my children $1 million if my son goes and be's a faggot. If my daughter goes and be some slut, if my son go marry some white woman, what good is giving the nigga $1 million? He's just gonna give it back to white people. Everybody understands? But the Black American doesn't think like that. He doesn't have that mindset because all he sees is his oppressor. Don't see past your oppressor. See God. Everybody understand? That's what the Ark of the Covenant was about. That's what this culture and these laws that were given to us was about. You have something that is greater than what these other nations had. If you can just stop being jealous of them for 1 second. Everybody understand? So, 2nd Ezra chapter 10, starting at verse 19 to close out the class, all right? 2nd Ezra chapter 10, verse 19. So I proceeded to speak further unto him. So like further unto her and said, do not so. Do not so. But be counseled by me. For how many are the adversities of Zion? Be comforted in regard of the sorrow of Jerusalem. For thou seest that our sanctuary is laid waste, our altar broken down, our temple destroyed. Our psaltery is laid on the ground, our song is put to silence, our rejoicing is at an end. The light of our candlestick is put out, the ark of our covenant is spoiled, our holy things are defiled, and the name that is called upon us is almost profaned. Our children are put to shame, our priests are burnt, our Levites are gone into captivity, our virgins are defiled, and our wives ravished. Our righteous men carried away, our little ones destroyed, our young men are brought in bondage, and our strong men are become weak. And which is the greatest of all, the seal of Zion has now lost her honor, for she is delivered into the hands of them that hate us. Everybody understands? Everything that was given to us, the Lord just laid it out. These were things that were given to establish a culture, given to establish a pride in us being a nation, being the chosen people of God. Everybody understands? But because of our disobedience, because of our refusal to accept and acknowledge the Most High and the covenant that our forefathers made with him, all the things that were given to make us great have been destroyed. Everybody understand? Let me keep reading. Verse 24, and therefore shake off thy great heaviness and put away the multitude of sorrows, that the mighty may be merciful unto thee again, and the highest shall give thee rest and ease from thy labor. Everybody understand? So, sure, are we in a jammed up position? Are we down bad? Yes, we are. But guess what? Put your trust and your faith in the mercy of the Most High, and all those things that have been taken from us, they will be restored once again. And with that, with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rules for new brothers and sisters: when they come into the school, they are all members for 6 months. They are here to learn and share themselves of the world. Tithes, which is a commandment, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. You understand? Give to the school. Upcoming holy convocations. I know this weekend, this Saturday's cookout down in Houston, Texas. Brothers and sisters able to make it. That'd be a beautiful thing. If y'all do plan on attending, let me know. So I can make sure that you got all your prepared for all of the possible worst case scenarios that could come up going down there to Houston. All right. With that said, you want to be a troop in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. And with that, I imagine, which means to stand. Upon your hakwadam, which means turn and face the east. Due to the time, y'all, we just only want to say the Lord's Prayer. All right. All right. Matter of fact, come on, y'all, you come on up here, you read it in English, all right? This is the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abinau,
Abinau,
Shabbat Shemayim,
Shabbat Shemayim,
Quadash,
Quadash,
Ayah,
Ayah,
Shemka,
Shemka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Malak with God,
Malakah,
Zaba'ah,
Zaba'ah,
Ratazayaka,
Ratazayaka,
Ayah,
Ayah,
Aisha,
Aisha,
Ba'aratazah,
Ba'aratazah,
Kawa,
Kawah,
Ayah,
Ayah,
Bashamayim,
Bashamayim,
the Thundernow,
Thundernow,
Lakam,
Lakam,
Kal,
Kal,
Yawam,
Yawam,
Wasalachanaw,
Wasalachanaw,
Kababwafnaw,
Kabawafnaw,
Kasalachnaw,
Kasalachnaw,
Kababwafyanaw,
Kabawafyanaw,
Wala'ah,
Wala'ah,
Tabayanaw,
Tabayanaw,
Banasaya 1,
Banasaya 1,
Abal,
Abal,
Awashayanaw,
Awashayanaw,
Mayan,
Mayan,
Rad,
Rad,
Kaya,
Kaya,
Laka,
Lakah,
Amalakwa,
Amalakah,
Waha'ala,
Wala'ah,
Wahatapara,
Wala'ah,
La'aiwalamim,
Wala'ah,
Amun.
Amen. In English, our
Father,
which art in heaven,
which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Yahweh,
Thy
kingdom come.
kingdom
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done
in earth,
as
it is in heaven. Give us this day. Our daily bread. And forgive us our debts.
And forgive us our debts.
And we forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not.
Into temptation.
But deliver us.
From evil.
For thine is the kingdom. The power. And the glory. So be it.
Psalm, which means to turn. Give one courtesy salute, men of Israel, Majim Shabbat, Majim, Barak, Yahweh,
Shem Yahweh,
got your Matai hands down, saw turn to face the sisters. Give one courtesy salute to the sisters, men of Israel, Majim Shabbat, Majim, Barak, Yahweh, Shema, Shem Yahweh. Yahweh. Oh, you got it good.
Yahweh Shema, Bahashim Yahweh.
Most high praise. Y'all give us our hands down, class. All right.